Everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And we are back to the channel. We've been on a couple-week hiatus because I went off on an 11-day excursion to Germany and some neighboring countries, and I thought, now that I'm back, and I mean, I just got back. Like, I arrived in the States last night, stayed the night with Sarah's dad in St. Louis, and I should mention, Sarah and I went together, and we left the kids back with Sarah's dad. And anyway, we just got back in the States last night, and I just got back into town today, so if I seem kind of tired and groggy and weird, it's because I am, and also still some jet lag.
You've been living in the future.
I have. I've been, well, no, the past?
No, the future. Because the one that I was talking to you was 9 p.m.
I was,
here, and like it's 4 a.m.
7 hours ahead. That's right. Yeah. So that's where my head's at right now.
So you are now in the train station that you cannot return to.
Right. Yep.
What's that like?
You know, I think in a couple days it'll level off. So anyway, I thought I would make a quick video and show Eric some of the cool geeky stuff that I found in Germany, and as I said, neighboring countries. Eric, we went to 4 different countries. We did a
I know it was Germany, Austria.
Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Lichtenstein.
Oh.
And Lichtenstein is the super tiny country. It's one of the smallest countries in the world, apparently. And we went to one city for 2 hours in Lichtenstein, and it was really hard not to feel like that was just the whole country, because that's all we saw of it. And it felt like once we crossed the it felt like we got in the bus and then we crossed the border and immediately we were back in Germany or Austria or whichever one we were most neighboring right then. It was difficult to have a good sense of where I was a lot of the time because I didn't have phone service, and that's part of why I wasn't posting and stuff. And also I just thought it would be nice to take a break from social media, so I wasn't looking at anything, I wasn't reading anything, and I didn't want Beyond. I didn't want Discovery spoiled for me at all, so I didn't look at anything.
Yeah, and I also
kind of
ghosted off Facebook as his Discovery premiered.
Yeah, but Eric and I just watched that, and we'll review that later on soon. That'll be the next video that comes up. But anyway, Eric, it was a crazy whirlwind tour. I mean, I couldn't begin to tell you all the stuff we did. And
you sent me pictures. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, and I took a ridiculous amount of pictures. I'll start doing some posting soon and show people some of the weird geeky things I found, and then just some of the beautiful places we went. It was mostly a Martin Luther tour. So Sarah's grandfather is a retired Lutheran pastor, and he takes people 3 or 4 times a year to Germany to take them to a bunch of important Reformation sites, which is really neat and really fascinating. For history, regardless of what kind of religion you might subscribe to.
Yeah, Martin Luther is a really interesting individual.
Yeah,
an historical figure.
Really worth it. And I'm so privileged that I got to go to those places. We saw the lightning spot, the place where, or somewhere around close to where it allegedly is likely to have happened. But you know, there's a monument there now.
Did you see the church where he supposedly
yes.
nailed to the door?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Which apparently, it's funny because you get into history and you start either doing a tour like this or talking to scholars that really know what they're talking about, and you find out that a lot of things that you thought you knew about something were like made up later.
I knew that.
We don't even know for sure if the 95 Theses were actually really nailed to the church door. We also,
that's why I said supposedly. I knew that was up in the air. I was like, maybe.
After I was just shattering all my like all of my or understanding about Martin Luther, we're like apparently that maybe didn't happen. We know for sure that the bit where he says, "Here I stand, I can do no other," that was made up later. He did not say that. They had the merchandising, and I'll show you a little bit of it. The merchandising for Martin Luther over there is crazy because this is the 500th anniversary of the Reformation.
Oh.
And so
it's nice you got to go this year.
Neat we got to go this year. Yeah, and it's funny because apparently all the big Reformation tour stuff that they were doing over there, all the big events and things, they were ending like last month, but the actual real date for the 500th anniversary of the Reformation is, I think, in like November.
It's like Star Trek.
Yeah, and so they're right, exactly. And I think they started adding more of those things when somebody told them what the actual date was. So anyway, that's pretty hilarious. But no, the merchandising is crazy. So I told you the "Here I Stand" thing was made up. There are shoes
That's how you understand?
Yeah. Or and I think there's another set that says like take a stand or something, and yeah, it's hilarious. Anyway, so but I went kind of scouring as I'm liable to do for geeky superhero stuff and things like that, and being on the kind of tour I was, it was a little bit hard to find some of that kind of stuff because we were with a big group, and there were 28 of us on a bus, and it was a lot of be back here at this time, and or we would tour a city and we would see the important monuments and things. I mean, we saw Luther's birth house, his death house. We saw the church where he nailed the theses. I got to see the inside of the church where he's buried. There was a bunch of different places. We went to the town that his wife is from, and we learned a lot about her. And this is a really cool educational trip. But anyway, so I wasn't going there for conventions. I wasn't going there for geeky stuff. So the places I found the most nifty, geeky stuff, the kind of stuff that people on the channel are going to care about, were regular places, were grocery stores and malls and things like that. So like occasionally we would be able to kind of run off by ourselves, but we would only get like an hour and a half. We're like, that's not nearly enough shopping time. But there were a couple times where we got to do a lot more, where we had a lot more free time. One of them was Luzerne, which is now like my favorite place in the world. Luzerne was amazing. That's in Switzerland, and I would almost want to move there if it weren't for how expensive everything is. Like in Germany, you don't even have to think about eating out. Things are so cheap. Like you can have lunch all day long for like $1.50. Like it was so super cheap over there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now you have to pay to go to the bathroom, so that kind of adds a little bit to the cost. But
remind me to tell you about that later.
About what?
The paying to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, sure.
Because I learned about that, but it's not really relevant to the video.
Okay. Oh, you mean later after the video?
Yeah.
Yes, I will do that. Anyway, but you go to Switzerland and everything's like 3 times more expensive. But that city is gorgeous and the people are super friendly. And anyway, I found a comic shop there, and it's the one comic shop I managed to find. I sent you pictures of it.
Yeah.
And one thing I learned, I guess I'll try to talk a little bit about things I understand better about the culture and about specific geeky culture. First of all, comic shops, of course, pretty few and far between, but not what I expected them to be. I have heard from some people in Britain that they'll get English comics and like American comics, but they're twice as expensive. And in Germany, what they do is the singles, when you find them, are oversized, and they collect 2 or 3 issues together. They don't have just 22 pages.
That's how England used to do it in like the 70s and 80s.
Okay, interesting. Trades, they're current to like a year ago. And I could not believe all the stuff I found. Like my entire pull list was in German on the stands there in this great comic shop, and that comic shop owner was great.
Do you remember the name?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me that. I probably have the receipt in here when I show you the stuff I bought there. It was Comics Remix, I think was the name of that place. Comics with an X Remix, that's what it was. And yeah, so I guess I do remember the name of that store. But anyway, but yeah, I was talking to the store owner, and he didn't know a lot of English. But first of all, he was begging me to look at his English section because he could tell I was from America, and he was like, "We have English comics." I was like, "Yeah, but I want to buy something in German because that's cool." And of course, my wife speaks some German, and I took German in college, but I don't know it. Although it was weird how much of it came back.
Oh, interesting.
As I was there, like there were certain words. I would wake up in the morning, and a word would come back to me, and I would be like, "Oh, cool." In Schuldigung, I forgot all about that word. That means, excuse me, that'll come in handy. You know, just the things would come back. Oh, Varum. Oh, yes, I remember Varum. That means why. Just like one morning, all the question words were just back in my head. I was like, oh, I still know a little bit of German.
And the Varumba is the little thing that cleans your house.
That's right. Why? I don't know why someone invented that. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, so I was talking to him, and I was like, "Your store is amazing," and he was just like, "Yes, I know, it's amazing." It was great. And then he was almost apologizing for working. He had a bunch of boxes in the front of his store that he was unloading, and he wanted to make sure that my wife and I knew that normally what he does during the day is sit around and wait for people to come in and drink coffee. It was hysterical. But anyway, they had IDW Ninja Turtles up to like a year or two ago.
Wow.
They had Power Rangers up to last year. they had all the major image stuff. I think trees might have been there.
Oh wow!
Like, I was really surprised by just how current they were. Like my pull list was just there in trade.
That's awesome.
It was really cool. So yeah, I'll show you some of the stuff I got. This is in no particular order.
I've seen none of this. Well, except one of them you sent me a picture of.
Yeah, yeah. So first of all, just here's some German chocolate. We got a bunch of German chocolate.
So you went to Switzerland. Did you have Swiss chocolate?
I did. Yeah.
Of
course, it's amazing. Yeah, yeah. And I had ice cream in Switzerland, and that was made that. I've been on an ice cream cone kick lately.
Interesting.
I used, and you know me, I'm not a big ice cream guy. Mm-hmm. We've been going to ice cream shops, and they're everywhere in Germany, and you can get like $1 ice cream cones, and they're killer.
Oh,
like
awesome.
they're really good. Yeah. And so suddenly, like just a week before that, I was on this ice cream cone kick, and then I went to Europe, and now I'm really like I just can't stop getting ice cream cones. But anyway, so we got Kinder Eggs. If you've ever been to Germany or you know anybody that lived in Germany or is from there, you probably know about Kinder Eggs. Some of the most popular kids' chocolate, and what these are, Eric, is it's an. Have I shown you these before? Because Sarah's grandpa brings these back sometimes, so we've had them up in the kitchen. But
they're like a Russian nesting doll, but they're
no, because that would be like really small. No, but it's similar in that there is something in the middle that you're supposed to play with. So it has a piece of chocolate, and I would open this, but it's for Jason, and so I don't want to take his chocolate. But anyway, it's an egg, and then you open it up, and in the middle is a little toy that you always have to put together. It's like little pieces that make a toy, and they're outlawed in America because of the small pieces. So Kinder's not allowed to have them here. Otherwise, they would. I think maybe at one time they did. I'm not sure. But this one you can't tell from the packaging, but I just know this because of the box it came out of. This one has something superhero girls in
cool.
it, so I got that for Jason, and we got some more Kinder Eggs and some other kinds of chocolate, and then these Happy Hippos from Kinder are absolutely glorious, and you have to have one. They're the best. In fact, I'll open this up and let you have one right now.
All right.
These are super tasty. They have sprinkles on them.
Are these the hippos that are afraid of the hungry hippos?
I think they probably are. The hungry hippos are like cannibals, and they eat the hippos.
It's got like a hippo on it. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah,
that.
it like is a hippo, and it's in 3 segmented pieces.
That was really good.
Isn't that really good?
Those
are super tasty. So while Eric is eating his chocolate, I'll show off some other things. Now, I did not take the liberty of doing any research before I made this video, so I will let you know if I say a thing I'm not totally sure about. So I got, you know what, let me show this off first. Maybe we'll have a piece of this too. Look, German Pez, and I didn't know that in Germany they had Pez that was of different shapes than ours. It's circular, and no, I did not find any German Pez dispensers. I don't know if such a thing exists.
Like those ring guns that kids get.
Maybe that's what they are. I got the orange one. I don't know if Pez is originally from Germany, but I suspect that it's originally got to be a European company, because I know that Pez is Pfefferminz shortened to Pez, and Pfefferminz is a German word, is the German word for peppermint. So, but try one of these. They look like stomach medicine, right? Like they look kind of like a Tums.
It's good. It's better than regular Pez, actually.
It's better than Pez, because it doesn't feel like just pure sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we're doing a Geekvolution all of a sudden. We could have gotten more videos out of this, but anyway. Oh, that's really good. Will not fit in my Pez dispenser.
You know, I have once seen, or maybe I heard, I think it was a podcast, where a British person came to America and did this with American candy. It's really interesting.
I bet, yeah. And they're talking about how it's different from theirs.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fun seeing someone else, seeing the things that you're familiar with. You know, like they're on an alien planet or something. Mm-hmm. So I found lots of superhero DVDs. The first few days I wasn't finding any of this kind of stuff, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be lame, I'm not gonna have a video when I get back. But I started finding DVDs in Switzerland, and then after we left Switzerland, I found more, and I could have gotten a bunch of superhero DVDs in German.
What would you do with them?
Yeah, and like, you know, Region 2, hard to play. You can get the player,
a regionless player
on your computer that's regionless and play it, but you know, I'm not going to be able to like watch it on a regular TV or
right,
anything. So I decided to just get one, and what I got was X2, which is X-Men 2 in German.
Which is fun, because I think that's the exact cover that we have at the store I work at.
Is it?
Yeah.
And I bought this because I have to know A, what Stryker's voice sounds like, and B, what it sounds like when he says there are no answers that way.
And I wonder what Nightcrawler's voice sounds like.
Good call. Yeah, they probably tried to get a really close sound alike because he's German. Yeah, that's a really good point. I could have gotten Lee Commencement that way. My first class, I could have got, but of course, it would have only been called Lee Commencement if we were in Paris.
But you were.
I was.
And you could have gotten Lee Commencement while you were there.
No, I couldn't have because I was in the airport and I couldn't go anywhere other than the airport. The Paris airport is what I imagine hell probably looks like. It was the worst thing. We missed our flight because they kept us in the line to look at our passports for an hour, and it was a real tight window. We only had an hour to get to our flight from and our last flight was late. So we only had an hour to get there, and they closed the gate before we could get there. And Sarah and I mean, it was like out of a comedy movie where somebody's like trying to get to their place. We're just running down hallways, and then it was all for nothing. It was terrible. But you know, I'm here now. We're good. So anyway. But yeah, so I got that. I could have gotten Days of Future Past. I found that. I almost bought Deadpool that way because I would love to know what Deadpool sounds like in German. But I didn't do that. I bought some other things.
It's really funny.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There's a clip on YouTube I can show it to you.
Maybe next time one of those groups goes over, I'll give them a list of things to look for me. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is Star Trek cologne and perfume. I bought, but I found the cologne later.
Okay.
So. I bought these because I don't think you can get them in the States, and this is one of those things that I didn't look up before we made the video. So it's possible I'm wrong about that, and these are available in the States somewhere, but it is a German company that makes them.
Okay.
And it makes me think that they might...
It says made in the EU.
Yeah, so like I don't think you can get these here, but even if you can, I got these for, you know, I paid I think like 13 euros a piece for these. It wasn't bad. By the way, the exchange rate, if you're wondering, is about like $1.95 somewhere in there above. So, or excuse me, below. So a euro is like spending about $1.25 here, so everything is more expensive. So when you're spending $1, you're actually spending more than $1.
Okay.
Or when you're spending €1, you're spending more than $1. So these were probably like 16, 17 bucks. But anyway, so I got at one store, and actually it was the same store. It was a chain. It was kind of and I forget the name of the place, but it was and it was not Babylon 5, but I forget the name of the place. It was kind of Germany's answer to Walgreens. And but one of those stores only had the perfume, and the other one had the colognes. And I guess there's two colognes. There's a Kirk one and a Spock one. I got the Kirk one, but this is Uhura for galactic women. And then these both smell pretty good. And then so I got that for Sarah, and then I bought the.
For men and captains, you're both.
Because it's for men and captains, and Sarah just looked at me and said, well, you have to buy it now. You're a captain. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm going to get that. But the main reason we got these, here, I'll pull this one out.
That means that Janeway could use that.
I mean, everybody has to call her sir, you know. The main reason I got it is because they look really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, because like even when you're finished with that, you'll keep that.
Yeah. Yeah, these are going to look great in the Star Trek room, so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
And you said that they actually smell good.
They also had a Batman Begins one. They had a cologne called Batman Begins, and I almost bought that one, but it didn't have a cool case or anything. Like the box it came in was kind of generic, and then the glass case, the actual bottle itself, was like, I don't know, it wasn't shaped like a bat or anything, and it just had like a little Batman Begins symbol in the front of it, and it just, you know, it wasn't as cool as these, so I didn't get it. Okay, other.
We like clean up after this.
Things, yeah, a little bit. So obviously I had to get some stuff for the kids. I think one of the things I got for Jason, I might have no, it's in here. Okay. So Jason's been on a massive Pokemon kick lately. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and bought him a German Pokemon magazine. I was gonna get him some German Pokemon cards. This ended up being the best of both worlds because it has a couple here, which is kind of neat. So he'll get to see what Pokemon cards look like. On the back of it, which is weird because it says it in German here. Schnapp sie der alle. But so I bought this for Jason, and I discovered that in Germany there are magazines everywhere. So
print's alive and well in Germany.
Yeah, the internet boom did not destroy print there in the ways it did here. When you walk into a grocery store, you see tons of magazines. Most of the places I saw single issue comics were in grocery stores, and also in in gas stations, and they never had much of a selection. They'd have like 3 or 4 things. But I saw, I don't know, one place I saw an Avengers book, Wade's Avengers. In a lot of places I saw Tom King Batman. I saw a little bit of Spider-Man. So all mainstream stuff. Well, no, not only I saw The Simpsons a few times.
Oh,
and it turns out that the thing that is most popular for kids, apparently, or at least they want you to think that because it's everywhere, is Donald Duck. It's everywhere.
Weird.
Yeah. And like manga size books, like
Archie books.
Yeah. Just all over, and like some just straight up Disney, but Donald Duck, and it wasn't just the same book every time. Like I kept finding like a ton of digests of old Donald Duck comics.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Notched in Flammen.
Right, Sun and Moon. But this is, they apparently make a bunch of magazines for kids that come with some kind of a toy or something with it. I kept finding that everywhere.
Oh, that's interesting.
The toy company, what is it, Schlecht, I think? I forget what it's called. They make, we had them at the toy store. They're actually imported here, and we have them all the time. They make like farm animals and dinosaurs, and they're like really realistic looking. You'd know them if you saw them.
Oh yeah. They're like this big, yeah.
Yeah, they're small and they're really expensive.
Yes. Yes. I bought those from Toys R Us.
I almost bought a Velociraptor. I found this gorgeous green and red Velociraptor, and it was 14 euros, and I was just like, that's a little much. I'm not gonna do that, but I wanted to. But they have a magazine. They have a dinosaur magazine, and it comes with a little figure that you build. But anyway, so this is the comic I decided to get for you.
Oh.
So you can see what that looks like, and I got that partly because it has a poster in it.
And so this is the first like 3 issues or
2 or 3,
something like that?
yeah.
2 or 3? Because it's really thick.
Oh, and I meant to tell you, sometimes they would combine books, like Justice League and Suicide Squad was together.
Oh, weird. I wonder if this is Batman Detective.
That's a good question.
That's a really cool poster.
Yeah, and of course I saw more single issues at the comic shop, and he had like bins of some back issues, and he had, like I said, they're of course kind of late, so everything is like, I don't know, like a year or so behind. So they were, I think, just past I Am Bane, or like in the middle of I Am Bane. Mm-hmm. Is about where they were. That comic shop is where I found this one. I almost bought number 6, which would have been like, 12 and 13 or something.
At the end of I Am Suicide?
Yeah, I imagine so. Wait, what is at the end there? Because there's Sinestro.
Yeah, it looks like it's an ad for Hal Jordan undoes Green Lantern Corps.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It just looks like it's an ad at the end of it.
Cool.
But it's interesting because this poster is Panini.
Yeah.
And Panini is a small publisher here.
Yeah, well, Panini does all of, apparently, the translation reprints for Germany, because this other Marvel thing I'm going to show you is also Panini. So you check it out. And you'll see that everywhere.
Interesting.
In fact, this is probably Panini, too. No,
this
it's not.
poster's really
It's
cool.
not.
I'm totally going to take this out and put it up on my wall. It's interesting because it's Tom King's Batman, but it's the Endgame Joker.
Oh, yeah, that's
like
weird.
If you're
right, I didn't even look at that.
You can see his face there.
Yeah.
It's
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. So I don't know. I think that's kind of fascinating. What I really wanted to buy at that comic shop was the Spawn hardcovers.
Oh yeah.
And I took a picture of the inside of one of them. That dialogue in German is hysterical. It's so funny. And what was annoying is I found things that are either out of print or just really hard to get over here, but in German. So they had the Spawn Origins collection in hardcover up to like 11. And they had the obscure stuff. They had the Violator mini in trade.
Weird.
Yeah. In German.
It's interesting you got this for me because a couple of years ago, a friend of mine went to China and brought me back Batman Earth 1 in Chinese.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah. No, this is super cool. But it's interesting because it is the first 2 issues, but then there's a lot of... There's at least 2... Because, like, this is Nightwing.
Yeah.
We've got, like, a preview for Nightwing,
so
and we've got a preview for...
Green Lantern.
And it's a substantial amount of pages.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
They really pack it in. Oh yeah, we just reviewed that.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, interesting. They put
I wonder if someone
inside
brought
of-
up something in the letters, because that looks like the letters pages.
Yeah. Is it a letters page or is it? I don't think so. I think it's just, like writing what's going on that month. You know, like we do here. It seems like that's what that is. Because it looks like they're probably setting up
Monster Man?
the
Well, that's the button. But I was thinking Hugo Strange would be Monster Man.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That would be Monster Man, wouldn't it? That would be why they did that. But yeah, Eric and I recently did Laughing Fish, which and also the story around Laughing Fish, written by Englehart. Thank you. But yeah, so it's interesting that that's in there. But yeah, so these are like €5 about, which is really comparable. In fact, kind of better than what we do, because this is collecting like $3 issues, and yeah, it's about comparable because of the exchange rate. So yeah, it's about the same price ultimately. But anyway, so there's that, and
it's Nev.
I don't know if that was bent when I bought it, or if we just
I was noticing that. I think it was like that when I took it out.
Weird. Well, it might have been the suitcase too.
Oh,
because hard to get stuff back. But anyway, sorry about that.
That's cool.
Okay, so then, what I bought at that comic shop.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. What I bought at that, I wanted to buy you something that you had already, so that you could, compare them. Yeah.
Cool.
So I bought for me one of the DC encyclopedias in German, because I thought this would be a nifty way to brush up on my German if I ever wanted to.
It's interesting none of the names changed.
Yeah, I think a couple of them here and there are, but with just all this different information, you get a whole lot of vocabulary, and it's kind of fun just to see the word choice.
Well, and I'd love to see what some of the made-up words are.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of that is just direct translation, but I mean, it's just they don't change it at all. But anyway, so this was Sarah's idea, and I thought it was good, because a lot of the stuff I wanted was kind of higher than I wanted to pay, and it was stuff that I probably would never actually sit down and look at. And I don't know if I'll look at this, but I'm planning on it anyway. But what I really wanted to get was Watchmen in German.
Oh, that'd be
awesome.
What I
really wanted to get. It was $40, and I just
man.
I couldn't bring myself to do it. Okay, so like I said, it was a Martin Luther tour, so I felt like the need to buy the Martin Luther comic, and I bought it twice. I got it in the English and the German.
Oh, cool.
And I thought Jason might have fun comparing them, and it's just a kind of cartoonish history of the man's life.
What's Satan doing there hanging out behind him?
Because Martin Luther is always, worried about Satan tempting him and stuff.
Oh,
and so, yes. That's mostly for the time that he is a monk, and that he's in his room chastising himself and kind of fasting and hurting himself almost to the point of death. That's the thing that people don't talk about with Martin Luther a lot, is that he did everything to the max, to the nth degree, and so he's gonna be a monk. By God, he's gonna give up worldly possessions almost to the point of killing himself, and that's exactly what he did.
It's interesting because this is the German one.
Yeah.
But this is still in German. The little Martin Luther Reformation ad thing.
That's true. But yeah, I read a couple pages of this, and the art is really cartoony, but it's actually not a farce like I thought it would be. It's kind of just a brief history, and you've seen these kinds of things in the States a lot.
Yeah, it looks almost a little like Will Eisner-y, where he just had a kind of a cartoony style, but it was serious story.
It was kind of more serious. Yeah. There was I actually found a couple of graphic novels that were, and I didn't buy them, but about Martin. About Martin Luther's life, and one of them looked. It had like a really dark stylistic style that I liked a lot.
Interesting.
I wish I'd picked that up, but I only had so much cash to spend. So we got Jason a Lego Star Wars book in German, and just German Vader is really hilarious. So that was kind of fun.
Kein guter Tag für einen da.
This is not a book that was originally written in German. This is one that they translated, but we thought Jason would want at least something cool to try to read in German, and Jason really likes foreign languages and tries to do that. I bought this hat because it's a German hat, and I lost my hat, my regular hat that some of you guys have seen me wear.
It's a good thing you didn't lose that one.
On the airplane. Yeah, it's good. I bought this at Neuschwanstein Castle. We went to 3 castles Had never gotten to go to a castle before. Ended up
I've never been to a
ended up going to 3 different castles. It was really cool. And we went, one of the castles we went to was the one where Martin Luther was in hiding right after he refused to recant, and I translated the New Testament. Then I bought a German TV guide, because why not? And magazines in Germany are way cheaper than they are here. This is this massive thick magazine, and it was €1.95. A magazine this size, even just being a TV guide, would be at least $6 or $7 here, if not more.
That's interesting, because I think Japan is the same way. Because like the Shonen Jumps, which are those phone book size weekly periodicals, they're like $6.
But I got this because...
Oh, they're talking about Star Trek Discovery.
The Star Trek comeback. And so I got this for the...
Star Trek comeback?
That's great. Find out next time on Star Trek Discovery. Now, we'll discover if Star Trek came back. But yeah, so I bought this mostly for that.
That's a really cool Joker drawing.
Yeah, I bought this mostly for that Star Trek article. But I was just at a gas station and bought that on a whim. Sarah was looking for this everywhere. Finally found it the last day in Wittenberg at a video game store. We found a video game store, a used place, and it was cool because it went all the way back. It was mostly newer stuff, but they even had some Super Nintendo and Genesis, and that was pretty cool. And of course the European video games, at least from that period, it seems like that's still the case now, are kind of all the same across the board. So like they had a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in box with the booklet, and I would have bought that if it was all in German, but it wasn't. It was like in 16 different languages.
So do they call it Nintendo Famicom, or do they have their own term?
I don't know.
Okay.
I assume they do. I mean, I assume they call it what we called it, but I actually don't know the answer to that.
Because you had Super Nintendo, so that...
Well,
it was Super Famicom.
I say that. I actually just saw a Super Famicom, but I don't know what they call it, so, yeah. Now that you say that, I don't know if I actually saw Super Nintendo cartridges, but I saw Famicom cartridges. But anyway, and everything was super cheap in that store. Like, I wish I would have gone to town if I had players I knew for sure would play certain games, because, like, there were a couple of PS2 games they had that are $20 everywhere here that were, like, $7 there.
Nice.
And I didn't buy them because my player wouldn't play them. But anyway, but Sarah bought Back to the Future, the entire trilogy for $7, and she claims. My wife lived in Germany when she was a kid, and she claims that Back to the Future has the weirdest and most hilarious dubs, and I really want to watch this for those dubs. So if we can figure out a way to play this on the projector upstairs, we'll have a party and have some people, and we'll watch that in German with English subtitles.
Zurück in die Zukunft trilogy,
and they made a Martin Luther Playmobil. So I got that for Freddie. I already took it out of the box because it got smashed in the suitcase. But part of the reason I got this for Freddie is because they put out Ghostbusters Playmobil, and I'm gonna primarily get Freddie those for his birthday.
And so doesn't see this video.
He'll be able to play. Yeah. Shh. Nobody tell him. He'll be able to play Ghostbusters with Martin Luther. And I just think that's like, think about it. The ghost of Martin Luther comes back. Woo! And then the ghost are like, recant! No, I can't! I cannot recant! Here I float! I can do no other! And then, also, shh, nobody tell Brandon about this, but I bought some coins for Brandon and for my dad.
Oh, cool.
We found a really cool little flea market, and we got coins from all over Europe. And even I think there's a Japanese coin in here. But we got a couple of like 1920s like Reich coins, and we got some Eastern Germany stuff, and I think there's a couple of Swiss coins in here, and it was really neat.
That's cool.
And yeah, these were, it's kind of fun, like relative worth, right? One. So like these were really inexpensive, but you wouldn't be able to find them anywhere here. You know what I mean? So like they're common and they're everywhere, and they're not really worth a lot. But it will, and they're probably not worth a ton here, but they're cool. Because you can't just go out to some secondhand store downtown and buy them. And so I bought these.
This one's just filler. At least it's honest. I'm seeing a lot of 50s, which is not a common thing here, obviously.
No, it's not, and that is the most common coin for euros. So you need 50s all the time because that's what most of the bathrooms need. And so those came in handy. But they don't have singles in Europe, or at least with the euro. They don't have single paper. The singles are all coins, and they go up to $2.
I'd imagine this would be the Japanese one.
Or yes, it is. They go up to euros, and then after that, so like I think the paper starts at 5.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but there is a €2 coin, and we saw those everywhere. So it's not like the $2 bill where it's weird. Like there's tons of them. You get them all the time. So you got to be careful not to lose your change, because here, people lose their change all the time. They don't even think about it. It's not a big deal.
It's real money.
It was funny because for the first several days, I made the mistake of thinking that Germany doesn't have a penny. That with the euros there is no penny, because I never got one. And I was telling Sarah, I was like, oh, people in the 90s were talking about abolishing the penny. We should do that. It's great over here.
They were still
I ended up with pennies by about the 5 or 6 days in, and I felt so dumb. I was like, oh, okay, there is such a thing as a euro penny. And then I think the last thing
I don't think you've shown this off.
I wanted to show you is this. So I found this at a grocery store of all places, and we were just running in real fast so that people could use the restroom. So when I bought this, everybody in our group came up to me and asked me what the heck it was, because it's so giant, but relatively. And I didn't think I would be able to get this flat in my suitcase, but I did. Anyway, so this is one of those mail order action figure deals, but Panini's doing it, and I'm pretty sure this is just in Europe. And so, and I haven't seen any of these over here with these guys. They had that, like the chess pieces, and they did it with Batmobiles, and they did it with all those different mail order things. And it's the same thing as the like Star Trek thing that I'm doing. They did it with Starship Ships, but I'm doing it with Star Trek comics. Anyway,
yeah, those are the Batmobiles that you opted out of to get the pops.
To get the pops instead, yeah. So this is selling you the first figure in that line for €5, so that they can try to get you to mail order the rest of them
nice
for
looking figure.
like $15 a piece. The figure is really cool. I bought it mostly for the magazine, because this shows you what some of the figures look like. But this is like a history of Spider-Man in German.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's part of why I bought it, because I just thought it was kind of cool to get this stuff in German.
That's cool.
So it's just kind of a quick, concise history of Spider-Man.
Oh, look, they're getting Deadpool.
Yeah.
And an Iron Man armor I don't recognize.
And then they also do these oversized ones. Look, they made a Destroyer figure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And a Hulkbuster.
So those are kind of neat. But I just couldn't believe this was just $5.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and grabbed that.
Super cool.
But like I said, this is also Panini. So they're reprinting the Marvel and the DC stuff, and I think I don't know if they're reprinting any other companies. I didn't look that closely at the IDW stuff or the Boom stuff, but
that's cool.
Anyway, so like I said, I had a really neat trip. We did a bazillion different things. I could talk all day about other places we went and stuff, but I'm getting really tired, so I'm gonna go ahead and bid everybody farewell. But real quick, stuff I missed while I was over there. Couldn't get a Mountain Dew. And so I kind of miss Mountain Dew.
Was there nothing comparable?
They are no, and they not really.
There was no like Das Mountain Lightning.
They are all about the Fanta over there.
Oh.
So I had some Fanta.
That makes sense because it starts there.
It starts there, yeah. And I think they have some like couple hundred flavors or something. There's a bunch of different flavors of Fanta. But I had a couple of Fantas while I was there, but I drink mostly Coke. Coke everywhere. But the nice thing about Coke there, and Pepsi's this way too, is I think there's Pepsi there. I seem to recall somebody drinking one, but we had Coke the whole trip. And we were able to actually buy Cokes on our bus for a lot less than you could get them in the stores.
Oh, cool.
But the bottles are smaller. They're not 20 ounce. They're like 14 or something. They're a lot smaller.
Interesting.
And when you and they have a lot of bottles too. But I mean, excuse me, they have a lot of glass bottles there too. But immediately you're like, oh, this isn't exactly what it tastes like here. They do everything with real sugar there, so it's the real sugar version.
Cool.
And that was
because
that's
Pepsi's
nice.
Run some of those, but I've not had Coke with real sugar because they don't make it here.
Yeah. So I missed that, and like I said, I missed not having to pay for bathrooms, and I also missed well, that just got tedious.
Sure.
But I also missed being able to walk in a bookstore and find literature I could read. so we were talking about how print's not dead over there. Bookstores everywhere.
Interesting.
Like, and a bunch of like mom and pop ones, and a bunch of and several chains, and a lot of tiny ones, a lot of big ones. And it's interesting because I kept kind of wondering where people buy video games and movies, and I still kind of wonder that, because like the big cities, you would find specialty stores for those things, and they would have a selection, but there were other, even in big cities, even like in Switzerland, like there was a store that was like selling electronics and stuff that had video game systems, and the prices are all comparable to here. They had video game systems, and they have video games, but they didn't have like a big swath. It was just like a few of the big popular titles and kind of nothing else. But bookstores everywhere. Like now, the selection for books was always way better than it was for anything else.
Now, do you know if Germany is like China, where it's like a super regulated internet, where like maybe they don't get on the internet as much, or is it just not taking over the way it has here?
I'm not sure, but I suspect there's probably a lot of internet purchasing going on, given that I know people in Germany play video games, and I don't know where they're getting them. So it can't be that regulated, because I would assume that they're... And I found one of the Amazon stocking places in Germany.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I found one of the Amazon.de places, the warehouse, you know. I took a picture of that. I took a bazillion pictures. I'll put some of this video, and I'll try to start posting some on the channel. But I don't know, anything else that I wanted to mention? It's really interesting over there. There were... things that they do way better than us that I'm going to miss, and things that I was really glad to get back home to. I got tired of bread.
Did you?
Yeah, because we stopped at a million bakeries. It's all about the bakeries over there. Just tons of them. The Germans eat a lot of donuts, and they eat them for every meal. And something I had to get used to, and I knew this going over, but I had to get used to this, was big breakfast, tiny lunch.
Oh.
And I sent you pictures of breakfast. Mm-hmm. You remember that it was from that first day I sent you like 3 pictures because it took that much to show it all to you. Huge amounts of bread, huge amounts of different kinds of like meats and like cold cuts and stuff. They had everything to make a sandwich except for the sandwich bread. And they had a bunch of bread that wasn't sandwich bread. So they eat a lot of like the kind of meat that you would put on a sandwich, sliced that way for breakfast. But a lot of cheeses. I had the best pickles over there.
Oh, interesting.
They had those at breakfast a lot of the time. So like breakfast is lunch, and lunch is what I think of more as breakfast. And then of course dinner is just remarkably huge, and you want to explode afterwards. But yeah, naturally, I ate a lot of bratwurst and things. But if you go to Germany, don't skip the pizza just because it doesn't sound like a German thing, because it's different and it's excellent. I had salami pizza for the first time, which is one of my wife's favorite things apparently.
Oh,
and salami on pizza, it's amazing. And apparently they have that at Pizza Hut, and I didn't even know that. So if I order at Pizza Hut again, I'm totally gonna get salami pizza.
I'd be interested in trying that.
Anything, Eric, that you're wondering about that I should mention, or?
I can't think of anything.
Cool. Well, that's some of the cool. That's all of the geeky stuff I bought in Germany, and a little bit about the trip. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we're gonna be back with you for regular content again, starting tomorrow. And we'll put out, or possibly later today, we're gonna put out the spoiler cast for the pilot for Star Trek Discovery, and then we will be with you with lots more content. Batman year starting up at the end of this month. Tell your friends. Really excited about it. It is Batcap, the long Halloween, or the 48-hour Halloween. And for anybody that's been confused about the posts I've made about that, because they've been somewhat cryptic on purpose, those are the same project. So Batcap, the 48-hour Halloween, is a story that takes place over 48 hours that we're going to be posting over the course of a year. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, because you know this already, but
I've known this for a year.
You've known this for quite a while now. Yeah, we've been planning this for a long time. Every week for 50 out of the 52 weeks of this year, we're going to be posting a review of Nightfall, and it'll be within the story context of the sequel to Spawn year. So this time I get trapped in my own basement, and I have to review Nightfall for 48 straight hours, and get all of those comics packed into 48. So a lot of those reviews are going to be 2 issues, because there's like some 90, 100 something, and I've got to pack it into 48. But anyway, we're working on costumes and stuff, and I think I've shot about half of the prologue, which will drop on October 31st. So look forward to that. And we're going to go ahead and get going, and I'm going to go to bed. Thanks a lot for watching. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
See you later, folks.